Hey guys, how you doing? Oh, I'm doing okay. There are a couple of things that I wanted to talk about. The first of which I want to talk about before I forget it again. Because I heard something earlier that I want to talk about, and by the time it got to filming it, I had forgotten what I wanted to say. So I did a little bit of um, research and trying to find it, and I found that this is, oh yeah, that's what I want to talk about. Okay. Now, the Democrats, the liberals, are getting as panicked, scared, terrified, as as unhinged and delusional as I've never heard from them ever before. And this was an attack on Mitch McConnell. Okay. And what it was that if you are here illegally, okay, and you're not a citizen, you therefore do not receive the same benefits and privileges as those who are citizens. Because otherwise, what's the whole point of being a citizen? What's the point there? Then there would be no difference between someone who is here legally or illegally. Like another set of hijackers to crash into more buildings. Hey, you might as well call them citizens, right? They were here, whether they were here legally or illegally, they have the same rights and privileges as anybody else. So like I said before, why bother going through legal channels? Applying for citizenship, getting your papers, that might as well be thrown out in the garbage if you're going to do this, okay? There's a reason why citizens, have certain rights and privileges that those who are not citizens do not, okay? And voting is one of them, okay? If you are a citizen of the United States, you have a legal freedom to vote. If you're not a citizen, you do not have the right to vote any more than and during the I love what was said during the Democrat debate, where which is better, breaking into a house or ringing the front doorbell, right? Do you want somebody breaking into your house, being an unwanted guest in your house, who broke into your house, jimmied the lock, and walked right in? Or do you want somebody to ring the doorbell, right? As a matter of fact, we have a friend who felt she could come over anytime she wanted and insisted that we let her in anytime she shows up at our door. Okay? And it got to a point that was starting to get annoying. And soon I became almost a stranger in my own home. I had no control, and I didn't feel like I was at home. So I said, this is really outrageous. Having her show up at our door without being invited, bursting in at which point we were about to have dinner, and she shows up. She didn't call to let us know she was coming. She just drove over to our apartment and showed up at our door and knocked on the door. We said, "Who is it?" She told us who she was. She says, "Can we come in?" I says, "No, we're about to have dinner." No. She says, come on, let me in. It's like, you've always let us in. No, we are eating. We're going to eat. This was not a good time to come over. And she argued this point for, a few more minutes. And she got upset because she spent gas in her car to come over, and we were telling her no. So she was upset that she wasted gas in her car to come over when we're not letting her in. She said that was a wasted trip. I said, well, you should have called before you came over. So when you have a situation like what we got, where people are not applying to this country, there's nothing wrong with wanting a better life. Just do it legally. Go to the channels, and you apply for citizenship, and you go through the channels, and you're approved, you come right on in, and you become a naturalized citizen, as if you were born, So they're basically arguing about, that illegal aliens have a right to vote in our elections, while they are officially citizens of their own country. So they basically broke into our house and are instilling, demanding that they have the same rights and privileges as my family. No, I'm sorry. You broke into our house. You do not have the same rights and privileges that we have. You have to leave. You were not invited. You didn't call it ahead of time, by applying and so forth. And so Mitch McConnell basically were pushing legal IDs to register to vote. And if you do not have an ID, and he was trying to pass this, that you have to have an ID to vote. And you know what's important about that? When you register to vote, then they determine exactly the district for where you live. Okay? Because all I did was move from one neighborhood to another neighborhood, and it wasn't even a few blocks apart that I had a vote in a different voting location, because in moving a few blocks, I was now in a different district. So because even though my zip code was the same, my area code was the same, I was basically just down the street, because I lived in a different district. Then I had to go to the voting place for that district. So there's a reason why you register to vote. And in registering to vote, you have to show your social security number. They have all that paperwork down. If you don't have a social security number, if you're not a citizen, you don't get to vote. And that was basically what Mitch McConnell was doing, in saying only citizens and naturalized citizens, if you're naturalized, you're a citizen, are allowed to vote. You have that privilege. And think about this. There were several people. This is why the rule fits that, okay? If you come in illegally, okay, then you would not pledge allegiance to the flag. Our flag would not be your flag, okay? And that was proven by some of the pictures that were shown of these caravans heading north, that they proudly carried the flag of this oppressive nation of which they were leaving. Hell, if I was the president of the nation, I definitely would not be proudly displaying the flag of that terrible nation. I'd burn that flag and says, I want to go to America, and I would embrace the American flag. I would not proudly carry our flag. That's an insult to us. That is an insult. You come to our country, you have to adapt to our rules. It's like, it's like the rules of the house, right? I remember growing up, or rather, I guess other kids, right? The parents make the rules, right? You're a kid, you're a teenager, and your parents are told, when you're grown up and you have kids of your own and you have your own house, you can make your own rules. But I'm the one who pays the bills. I make the rules and you have to follow them. When you have your own place, it'll be your place. It'll be your rules. Anytime like smoking or in the house or in a car, right? I don't smoke in my car and anybody who was a passenger in my car who wanted to smoke, I said, I'm sorry, you can't smoke in the car. You can't, I'll roll the window down and I'll blow the smoke out the window. I said, that's not good enough. I don't want smoking in the car. That was my rule. In your car, you can make your own rules. But in my car, I make the rules. So any place that is yours, you make your own rules for your car, for your house, and any visitor, anybody who officially, does not own it or own a share of it, they don't get to make their own rules. You have to follow the rules of the owner of the house or car. And the same thing goes with country. If you come to our country, you have to follow by our rules and pledge allegiance to our flag, and respect us and respect our rules. And if you're still carrying the flag of the place you hated, the place you feared for your life, and you still have allegiance to that country, you don't have allegiance to our country. I'm sorry. You don't. You don't. If you want to come to our country so badly, you should not have proudly shown the flag of the country you were leaving. Okay. So, Mitch McConnell said, if you're not a legal citizen, you do not have a right to vote. You don't have that right. You don't have the right to free speech. You don't have any of the rights that citizens have. If I go to your country, I can't impose my rights onto your country. If I'm in your country, I have to live by the rules set up in your country. I can't, pressure your country to follow me. Okay, I have to follow the country I visit. Okay, now, but ringing the doorbell. You ring the doorbell. They say, who is it? It's Dave. Dave's not here. No, man, I am Dave, man. Hey, come on, man, open up. Who is it? Oh, man, it's Dave, man. Open up. I got the stuff with me. I think the cops saw me coming here. Oh, man. Who is it? It's Dave, man. D-A-V-E. Dave, man. Yeah, Dave, man. Dave's not here. And guess what? He wasn't let in. He wasn't let in. He didn't break down the door. He didn't break through a window. He didn't enter the house illegally. He didn't break in illegally. He knocked on the door. He rang the doorbell. Can I come in? I said to our friend, no, you can't come in. We're about to have dinner. And guess what? She didn't come in. She left and went home. That's how you treat unwanted visitors. You just don't let them in because you have sovereignty of your house. And you can let into your house whoever you want to let in. The same thing with the country. Same thing with the country. You could ring the doorbell. Who is it? I'll tell you who it is. This is me, blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry, you're not welcome. You're going to have to leave. I will not open my door. I don't want you here. You're trespassing. You want me to call the cops and arrest you for trespassing? Get off my property. You know, you're a bum, you're whatever. Whatever the case may be. You know, whatever reason you have for not letting that person into your house or get them off your property. That's why some restaurants, you know, they say, this person isn't welcome anymore. And they can file a restraining order or some other kind of order, a trespassing order with the police. And say, okay, I don't want this person around on the premises or coming to my restaurant. He is rude, he did this, he did that. I don't want to serve him, I don't want him in my restaurant. And so you file with the police to say, okay, this person, I don't want this person at my restaurant because if he shows up, he's trespassing. So there's a no trespassing order about that person. Just like you'd have for anybody else who'd break into your house. That person would be trespassing. Well, someone breaking into our country, instead of ringing the doorbell, that person's trespassing. And if that person is a trespasser, that person has no rights or privileges to our home. The home of the United States of America. That's our home. And if he's uninvited, unwelcome, and he broke into our home, he does not have any rights or privileges. So this applies to everybody in so many circumstances. And what happens? Mitch McConnell says you gotta be a legal citizen to vote. And you must show ID. So what do? What does the left do? While the left is charging or accusing Trump of being a racist, which I'm sure Trump likes some races. Maybe the Indy 500 he likes. And there may be some races he doesn't like the Daytona 500, or NASCAR, or the Kentucky Derby, or the 40-yard dash. Some say that's a pretty good race. But see, Trump doesn't care about races. Only those on the left care about it. Only those on the left is talking about race. Trump and we're not talking about race. We don't care about race. We're all one race, the human race. But as far as the left is concerned, they see nothing but races. So they're charging Trump with racism. Oh, they're always doing that. They're seeing things that aren't there. But what do they say about Mitch McConnell? Because Mitch McConnell wants to put forth a legislature, I guess, to make sure only legal citizens vote in 2020. That people coming into our country illegally are denied that privilege. And it's a privilege. It's not a right. You know what you have a right to? Breathing. You have a right to breathe. Oh yeah, I know there's other rights more legal than that. But a right to vote in a country that is not yours? That you don't have any legal papers to prove that you're a citizen? You may be among the population, but you're not a citizen. Right? So what do they do to Mitch McConnell? Do they call Mitch McConnell a racist? No. They call Mitch McConnell a Russian ally or a Russian agent or something. Some crazy crap like that. Mitch McConnell as a Russian agent? You people on the left are getting crazier and crazier every day. Really, a Russian agent. So all this time, you had no problems with Mitch McConnell. Not really. And now, because Mitch McConnell is trying to put this through so that only legal citizens vote, that you're going to call Mitch McConnell as a Russian ally or Russian agent? Okay, tell me. Please explain to me. How is making sure that only United States citizens vote is part of Russian influence or control or whatever they're thinking, or influence? Okay, now he's a Russian agent because he wants to make sure that only legal citizens and are allowed to vote, and illegal aliens are not allowed to vote. If he really was a Russian agent, wouldn't he do the opposite? Wouldn't he do the opposite? You know, because I'm a Russian agent, and we want to make sure that we have control over the elections, so that Trump is a criminal, everything else, but we, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Not at all. That a Russian agent would make sure that Russian bots or Russian influences or the fifth column is not allowed to vote, and only Americans and legal citizens are allowed to vote. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh yeah. So there's no outside interference, and because he's pushing for no outside interference, that makes him a Russian agent for pushing no interference from an outside country. Can you understand how crazy that is? It's like a paradox. It's like, how can you be a Russian agent and make sure that your country doesn't vote in this election? Right? Doesn't make sense. But that's what they did. And one more thing, okay, about this going back and forth with Trump and Elijah Cummings about the city of Baltimore, not the people. Okay, the city The conditions of the city is what Trump was referring to. Go to Baltimore and clean up your city. Just like, I guess, well, it was Giuliani cleaned up Times Square. And somebody else cleaned up that city. There was a song in 1977 by the Philadelphia International All-Stars. It was called Let's Clean Up the Ghetto. Okay? Great song. Great song. And they were talking about the disease and garbage stacked 3 stories high, whatever. And he says, all you got to do is just get a bucket and a pail and let's go and clean up the city. Let's clean up the ghetto. The Philadelphia songwriters, Huff and Gamble. Gamble and Huff wrote that. Great song. Great song. And you know what? Any place like Baltimore, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Chicago, Detroit, Cincinnati, Minneapolis, right, are ghettos. No one even says that word now, ghettos. And ghetto is not a Jewish ghetto, even though the ghetto the Jews lived in during the Holocaust was like that. Disease, filth, nastiness, and everything else. And really Trump only said that in response to Cummings' attack on a member of the Border Patrol about kids sitting in their own feces and not taking a shower. That's really what started it all. Really, that's what started it all. So Elijah Cummings started this by his merciless attack on a member of the Border Patrol about the conditions at the border that were misreported, lies about it. And so Elijah Cummings took that lie and used it to attack this officer of Border Patrol. And that's what started it. That's what started it. And that's why Trump said, look, you grilled, and this has nothing to do with Elijah Cummings' investigation on him. It had to do with the way he attacked that officer of Border Patrol. That was really what it is. He was appalled at that because he cares, Trump cares, about the border and improving conditions down there and trying to help with the overload that they have to deal with. And so lies come in from AOC and, all this false propaganda about conditions at the center. And so Elijah Cummings attacked the officer. Come on, man. How can you explain kids sitting in our feces and not, getting a clean shower? I think he was treated worse than I was by a family member, So that's really what started. It's really what started. It had nothing to do with the investigation. Nothing. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. He defended this, the Border Patrol like you would stand up to a sister, your sister, if she were verbally attacked. And you would stand up for your sister, and you would, whoever that bully was. And let me tell you something. I saw that video of Cummings attacking that officer. Explain that. He was a bully. He shouted and he shamed them. Answer that. How can you let a kid sit in their own feces? Come on, man. That's a bully. That's a bully. And so, Donald Trump, who knows how hard and dedicated they are and making sure the facility is clean and people there have their needs, stood up for him Just like you stand up for your sister if she were attacked. You stood up for their honor. And that's what Trump did. He stood up for their honor. And what happens? They attack him for being racist against him by referring to the city of Baltimore, which, like some other cities, have a rat infestation problem. And said, why don't you clean up your city? Just go to Baltimore and clean up your city. Oh my God, that is so racist. It's so racist to ask somebody to clean up the city, to improve conditions. Oh, that is a terrible racist thing to do, to tell someone to improve conditions so their citizens have a better life. Yeah, that's really racist to do that. That's really all Trump did. That's really all he did. He said, come on. That was shameful, the way he treated that CP officer. You should go to your city and clean up your city. Oh, that's racist to do that. It is racist to point out to a person of his district to clean up conditions so its citizens are happy and healthy and not have to live in disease. And to improve conditions. Yes, it is absolutely racist to improve conditions, health conditions in a city. And that's basically what they're saying. So anybody, so just to let you know, anybody, according to those on the left, media and so forth, so anytime somebody mentions improving conditions in a city, that is a racist thing to do. That is a racist thing to do. Hell, if they weren't talking about, coming skin color, I wouldn't be able to tell that he was a man of color. Hell, what's his name? Booker. I didn't know Booker was a man of color. He didn't look like a man of color to me. Some people may be biracial. And to me, I don't care. I don't care what color your skin is. I don't care, and Trump doesn't care either. Because both Elijah Cummings and Cory Booker both do not look like a man of color. They don't. They don't. To me, they're human beings. And everybody, we're all in a melting pot. So we don't care what color your skin is. We don't care. You're a person, So, but to tell someone to improve conditions in a city, that's racist. Okay, I'll remember that. So I'll be sure not to point something out to somebody. Say, you know what, you need to clean your place up. It's disgusting. So, hey, that officer who told the woman that she didn't have any food, she didn't have any diapers, there was old rotting and molded pizza still in a box in the kitchen, gnats are flying around, and there's rats and rodents and cockroaches and everything. The refrigerator's empty, the kids are crying and everything else. So the officer said, this is unsafe and unsanitary for your children to be living. And if you don't clean this place up, we're going to have to take your kids away. So the officer who told the woman to clean up her house would be a racist. That would be a racist thing to do, is to tell a mother to improve the sanitary conditions of her home so she can keep her kids. Yeah. That's racist. That's racist. We follow that line of logic. Anytime somebody tells somebody else, okay, you got a dirty home, why don't you clean it? Or wait a minute, I'll help you clean it. That's racist. That's racist. You can't say that. You can't say improve health conditions in a place because that's a racist thing to do. That's racist. the apartment that my last girlfriend and I shared, we had a bed bug problem. And we complained nonstop to the manager. So we could be racist for telling the manager, hey, we got a ceiling's about to fall on my head. Please improve conditions. Oh, that's racist. We got a bed bug problem. Please hire somebody to take care of it. Oh, that's racist. That's racist. You can't talk about improving health conditions because, oh my God, that's racist to do that. It's a racist thing to do to tell somebody to improve health conditions. That's a racist thing to do. So now we know. Don't tell somebody to improve the health conditions of a place or city. Because, oh my God, that would be a very racist thing to do. So, we're not going to say a thing about health conditions. We're not going to talk about health conditions. We're just going to look at the rats, look at the infestation, and turn a blind eye. No, I don't see anything. Because I don't want to be accused of being a racist by pointing out, you got to improve conditions in your city. You got boarded up windows, buildings, the smell, the stench. Oh, can't say that. I don't see it, I don't smell it, I don't hear it. See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. I won't say anything about improving health conditions. Oh, your restaurant. Okay, I see flies and I see cockroaches going into the pot of the stove. But we won't say anything. We won't say anything because we don't want to be accused of being racist against that restaurant owner. Oh, no. No. I know a couple of restaurants here in Fort Wayne closed down because they violated health codes. But I wonder if the person who complained about it was being racist when they complained about all the vermin that they could see running around on the floor, or whatever the conditions were. You spit into a pot in the kitchen, and then you serve that to your customers. Oh, but you don't say anything. You don't say anything because you don't want to be accused of being a racist. You don't want to be accused of being racist when you want to point out health conditions and complain about health conditions so that someone would improve health conditions and make everybody's living better. So doing that is racist because that's what Trump did. So that's what you might as well. So just remember, according to the left, do not complain about health conditions to anybody about any place. Because if you complain and push, let's clean this up, let's improve conditions. Oh my God, you just said, you're racist. You're racist for saying that. All I ask is to improve health conditions. How is that being racist? But that's racist. You must never, ever speak about health conditions or improving health conditions because that is a very racist thing to do. That's what we got. So Trump is a racist because he pointed out about health conditions. And one last thing about that. It reminds me of a dog. And you want the dog to look somewhere. And so you see something that you think the dog would want to look at. And so you look at him and say, Rusty, look over there. Look over there. There's something I want you to see. Does the dog turn his head and look? No. The dog is looking at your finger. Yes, I see your finger. That's a very nice finger. No. Look over there. Dog doesn't turn his head. He's still looking at you shaking your finger. Oh wow, cool, you're shaking your finger. No, don't look at my finger, look where I'm pointing. Dog doesn't understand that. All the dog understands is you pointing your finger in his face, and he's like, that's a very nice finger, Daddy. He doesn't know to turn his head. He doesn't understand turn his head, so he can see where you're pointing to. You do that for any adult. Hey, Johnny, look over there. What, Daddy, what? Oh, wow. Turned his head. He turned his head in the direction you were pointing. But a dog doesn't do that. You say to a dog, look over there, Rusty. And the dog is still looking at your finger. The dog don't know. So basically, this is what the left is doing to Trump. He complains about Cincinnati, Minneapolis, Detroit, and New York. And as I told you before, I looked online, and those 4 cities have big crime. Conditions are terrible in the squad's hometowns. So when Trump said in the tweet, go back to your awful places and straighten up your crime-ridden cities and then come back. Places, I'm sorry. He didn't say cities. He said places. Go back to your crime-infested places and then come back. Straighten that up. Help fix those problems. So we're talking Detroit, Cincinnati, Minneapolis, and New York. So when Trump was saying, go back to the crime-ridden cities or crime-ridden places that you came from, he's talking about Detroit, Cincinnati, Minneapolis, and New York. He wasn't telling them to leave the country. He was saying, leave Washington, D.C., and go back to your crime-infested places. Detroit, Cincinnati, Minneapolis, and New York. And as you know, I looked online, and it displayed the crime statistics of those cities. You know. But the left, they twist it around and make him seem like he said, to your country. Go back to your country. That's not what Trump said. Trump said, go back to your broken crime-infested places where you came from. Then come back and tell us how you fix the problem. But that is racist. Because Trump asked them to fix or improve conditions in their cities. Because Trump told them to go back to your cities and improve the living conditions of your cities. He was called a racist. He tells Elijah Cummings, go to Detroit and fix your city. Improve it for everybody else. No human being would want to live there. And he was telling the truth, no human being would want to live there. I wouldn't want to live there, not with rats roaming around. You know what I've dealt with? I've dealt with rats. I've dealt with mice. I've dealt with scabies, cockroaches, and bed bugs. So I know what it's like to live in a place that's vermin infested. And no matter how many times we complained to the manager, who was a slumlord, and he didn't care. She didn't care one bit. You know, accused me of creating the problem. You know. And so many other people I read online, they heard about all the bed bugs and the rats and everything else. They didn't believe until they moved in. They said, oh my God, everyone is right. This is a rat and bed bug infested building. I'm sorry they ever came here, packed up and left. But first having to wash all their clothes, had to throw all their furniture out, you know. So anyway, that's what I want to talk about. So, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and I just had to get that off my chest. All right, take care, and I'll speak to you later. Okay, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Take care. Bye.